golly, Trev put us in a bad spot. Horrible spot. Dennis is someone where the fall won't be as hard with Dennis there. Trust me.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
All right, welcome into Ticket Weekends. Harrison Arens on the ones and twos, as always, back at the 1040 Ticket Studios. No Jay Foreman in today as he's got held up. He's a pretty busy guy. So, again, I'll be just going solo here. If we're lucky, hopefully if Jay's got a little bit of time, but he's got a pretty busy schedule this morning. So, with that being said, we'll just carry it here solo all the way up until noon, and we'll get back to our regular programming with the Breeze at noon. Haas DP in for that one, followed by the Nico Project. And then we'll get close to around 5 o'clock. We will have some Husker, some Selection Sunday, I should say. We're going to be supporting the Huskers, and you'll have Tom Stevens, Mike Melby during the Husker Rewind. Some of us might be hanging around, and we can all kind of give our takes about the Huskers, what it looks like, who they're end up going to face. Probably 7 at the absolute highest. I don't see them climbing above a 7, but definitely an 8 and 9, possibly 10. I think it's probably going to be that 8-9 spot though for Nebraska basketball. It's just going to be, who do they play? Texas A&M. You can go on and on. Obviously, the Texas A&M one sticks out because of the recent news of Trevor Alberts leaving, but nonetheless, we'll have to find out later today. And again, that's going to be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock for us. We'll be able to tune in and watch that one. And again, we will give our best breakdown of what we think it's going to be. So 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. And let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So Nebraska basketball, they fall last night to Illinois. If they would have got that one, you really would have liked their chances. You probably would have saw them get another nice jump in bracketology, have to avoid that number 1 seed, because the real goal is if you can just get out of that 8-9, you can save yourself from having to play a potential number 1 seed if you happen to win the first game. You get to the 7, then all of a sudden your second game, if you're lucky enough to win the first one, is in a UConn, Houston, Purdue, whoever's going to take that last 1 spot. So with that being said, it's a tough loss. I don't think it's going to shake Nebraska out too far, but it's not going to obviously move them up either. They fall 87-98, and Nebraska had control through most of that game. Early on, it felt like it was going to be really the Rink Mass type of game. He was absolutely on fire early, 15 points in that first half. He was 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. Rink Mass was just playing a great game, and then just kind of a disappearing act in the second half. Just wasn't having the same amount of production, and there was times where he was trying to get it back going again, but he just kind of lost that touch. His threes weren't dropping. This classic signature hook shots, when those are kind of rolling in and out, wasn't spelling well for him. But Bryce Williams, he has a big game, 23 points. Bryce Williams has been playing really well down the stretch. Juwan Gary, really frustrating game for him. He only finishes with 7 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. A lot of that just being in constant foul trouble. Josiah Alec, kind of the same thing. It definitely felt like our guys were playing with their hands behind their back a little bit. Not because the effort was bad, but the fouls. When you get to the second half late and you see Illinois sniffing double bonus and Nebraska's not even close to getting into the bonus, it just makes it incredibly hard. You're down, you want to play good defense, but everything is just leading to free throw line opportunities for Illinois, and you got to give them some credit there. But again, you see Bryce Williams with 23, Casey with 18, Rink Mass 15. Jamarcus Lawrence, he was pretty good last night as well, 9 points. He's another guy that he's just really found his own. From going on to the starting to being off the bench, he's really excelled at that role. And I just like the way he pushes the pace. He's one of those guards, he's just going to take it and go. He doesn't want a stagnant offense. He will get that ball moving up the court. Kind of a lot like Sam Hoiberg. They're going to push, push, push. Sam Hoiberg, quiet game, 7 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds. Just a little bit of everything from him last night. I thought he played pretty well. And then Diop, he gets in the game, gets a couple of points as well. And it was a really nice jumper. You probably weren't expecting it from him. But despite that, you still fall short. And the real story lies with Illinois and one man only, and that's Terrence Shannon Jr. 40 points for Illinois yesterday. He single-handedly was just killing Nebraska. 40 points for number 0 out there for the Fighting Illini, and it was a lot of free throws. He only got 2 rebounds, 1 assist, but again, he was just making what felt like everything. And we go to his free throws right here. For any of you weren't paying attention, you can guess. If you saw the game, he shot an insane amount of free throws. Part of that, you got to give him credit for just understanding on how to get to the line. But again, just a crazy game for him. So they got Wisconsin today. I'm trying to pull this up for you guys and get the free throw numbers, but 40 points nonetheless. And he's going to have another shot today versus Wisconsin. Let's see here. Okay, I'll have to get that. Sorry, the computer's just not quite working with me right now, but we'll get those up. So 40 points for him. Lots of points on the free throw stripe. And it was one of those games where you were frustrated. You wanted to feel like calling it out on the refs. But if you saw the replay a lot of times, he was just really good at drawing contact. You could argue Nebraska definitely should have had some calls. I felt like they could have gone their way, but they just weren't happening. It was definitely Illinois' night in terms of just getting to the free throw line, and him with 40 points. I mean, that entire game, he was the one thing keeping them going, because Nebraska, even in that second half, you see a lead 10, 12, 15. It's starting to really swell and blow up. And then when you have a team or a player in Shannon Jr. who can get points, stop the clock, suck the momentum out of the gym over and over and over, pretty soon you see Casey in foul trouble, Juwan Gary in foul trouble. It's just tough when you have to deal with players like that. And you have to give him credit. You know, part of it's Nebraska. You got to work a little harder, especially when you're this deep. You don't have that many guys in fouls trouble. It can be frustrating. But you also got to know that's his game plan. It was pretty clear that he was going to attack the rim and look for contact every single time. When you know that's the case, easier said than done, but you got to get some charges. If he wants to put his head down and attack you constantly, that's also an opportunity for you to get a foul on him. So that's really the biggest counter you can do. It's frustrating when you have a guy that's just jumping up into the air into other players' arms, but that's how you got to take him out of it. If they want to play that wild, aggressive basketball, you kind of have to, I don't want to say flop on defense, but you just got to be just as quick defensively and work really hard to beat him to the spots, because then pretty soon you flip the fouls around. He's not looking to drive with his head down nearly as much because you'd be getting fouls called. Last night, he had no fear going at the rim versus Nebraska. It felt like every single time he went, said, no matter what, I'm going to leave my feet, jump off 2, and I'm going to find a way to get a foul. I mean, he's an acrobat. You give him that. He had a lot of great finishes. But the other part is we just got to be a little quicker defensively, because he's not the only great guard we're going to face. We're getting into March Madness. There's going to be these players that you have to find a way to slow down. And 40 points, I mean, he, again, single-handedly really got that game back into striking distance for Illinois. And then from there, it felt like Nebraska just kind of lost his confidence. We didn't have Juwan Gary out there. No one was really hitting their shots. Once Casey went cold, it was kind of looking around at who's going to be that next guy. Jamarcus Lawrence, again, I thought he was having some really great moments in there, but just nothing consistent enough. The offense, though, for Nebraska wasn't bad. You wouldn't look at Nebraska's stat line and think they played a bad game. Again, it's just really credit to Illinois for playing as well as they did. So Nebraska, you score 87 points. Stats-wise, you shoot 46% from the floor. You're not upset about that. 30% from 3, not great. 71% from the free throw line. Again, not terrible. You would like it to be a little higher, but 71, that's not a bad number. Rebounds, you were actually okay there. You lost the margin only by 5, though, 40 to their 45. And in terms of offensive rebounds, you only lost it by 2, 15 to their 17. Assists, 14 to their 18. And everything was pretty much close. We had more steals than them. We had 1 less turnover. The fouls we're actually closer than you think. That's why this is a game where I don't think it's fair. If you're a Nebraska fan, you can't point at the refs in this one. Yes, Shannon Jr. in particular was getting a ton of free throws, but the free throw discrepancy was not a lot. It was only 5. Nebraska was 15 for 21. Illinois was 21 for 26. Now, you can argue that Nebraska maybe should have got some more fouls, but overall, I thought the game was just very physical. They were letting him play physical. And if you want to beat him to the spot, they would call a block, or excuse me, they would have called charge just as much as they were giving Shannon Jr. chances at the free throw line. So they got another game here. That's the one beautiful thing about Nebraska in this Big Ten tournament, is that this wasn't the end all be all. It wasn't a time where we finally had to sit there and really just panic about this team. Do we have to win the Big Ten championship to get in? No, Nebraska's locked in there. This was really just going to decide how high up they're going to sit. And again, you lost to Illinois. It's a good team there, but it's not going to hurt you too much down the road here. So with that being said, we will go ahead and throw it to break. We'll kind of reassess here on what we have planned out ahead for the rest of the show here, because it is going to be just me all the way up until noon. So no Jay Foreman, quick programming note there. So I'll fill, no problem, all the way up until the top of the hour. And what I want to do is maybe we'll talk a little more college hoops, but I want to dive into the NFL. NFL free agency. Obviously, Chicago Bears, they've been busy. I thought the trade for them with Justin Fields was bad. Maybe you disagree. 402-464-5685. You can always argue they weren't going to get anything if they just held on to him. So fair enough. We could talk about that. Or if you just want to give me your favorite NFL team and talk about their acquisitions, what the ceiling is, what the floor is, we can do that as well. So again, we'll keep the text line open all day long. 402-464-5685. Streaming, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo Channel 961 if you want to put a face to the voice. So again, we'll throw the break here as we kind of transition and segue into the NFL and maybe throw in a little more college basketball in there as well. So don't go anywhere. Harrison Arens is going to be going solo all the way up until noon. We'll be right back.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. Navigating the legal system can be stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. Liberty Law Group is here to do the heavy lifting for you. We believe in treating every client with respect and understanding. When you're in need of legal assistance, trust Liberty Law Group to fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. They encourage those who go out to make smart decisions behind the wheel or plan accordingly to have someone lined up for a safe ride home. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything that is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Hi, it's Tom and Mike from Husker Rewind. And did you know that people who are represented by an attorney are often compensated up to 3 times more than someone who is not?
Friedman Law has been helping injured people for over 60 years. It's all they do. If you're ever seriously injured in an accident, call Friedman Law at 402-476-1093.
Friedman Law is a family firm that works hard for Nebraska families just like yours.
So if you're ever injured on the job or in a crash, contact Friedman Law at friedmanlaw.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help you find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.9% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of March. When you purchase a pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Power combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Arens on the ones and twos as always. And again, a little bit of a segue here. Just going to be going solo all the way up until noon. Want to talk some NFL. Want to talk a little more college basketball. 402-464-5685. Starter Haven text line always open, as well as any of the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, Channel 961. Coming out with some more bracketology here. Just one quick update. You're looking at Joe Lenardi's. He's got us going up against New Mexico as the 8th seed. You look at New Mexico. They're 10-8 in conference play in the Mountain West, 26-9 overall. They've won their last 4 games, and that would be in the South in Dallas. That would be the one with Houston as well, obviously. But that's the latest and his final from Joe Lenardi. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and segue into some more NFL talk, as we have to wait until essentially 5 o'clock Selection Sunday to truly figure out where Nebraska is going to fall in this whole thing, as well as women's as well. So we'll keep you updated on that. And again, we got Milkman chiming in here, says, I wish the Bears would have kept Fields and drafted more help. Well, that's perfect. You chimed in there, Milkman, because that's exactly where we're going with this next. Justin Fields is acquired by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming. I thought once they got Russell Wilson, they were going to stay pat. I didn't think it'd be in their odds to go ahead and try to grab Justin Fields. But I think as that market dried up, you look at Minnesota, who surprised me getting Sam Darnold. You looked at the Falcons. I thought that was going to be the other, really big piece that maybe the Bears could position themselves, try to auction off Justin Fields to them. Obviously, they go get Kirk Cousins. It just kind of worked its way out to where every team that you were hoping to be a potential buyer, the market dried out way faster than anybody anticipated, at least for me. So Justin Fields, he gets acquired by the Steelers. It's really perfect. I mean, yes, you have to worry about his 5th-year option, but because you're barely paying Wilson at all, because he's taking, basically the veteran minimum deal for you guys, because he's getting paid a ton of money already from the Denver Broncos that he doesn't need to make a ton of money. So now you can pay two pretty good quarterbacks. Whether you think Fields has a really high ceiling or a very short ceiling, you're still not paying him a ton of money. And you have till next year before that 5th-year option hits, and you can kind of test Wilson out. You only got him on a 1-year deal. If you don't like it, you can just move on. You got Justin Fields on the backup waiting. So it is one of those situations where I wasn't expecting it, but it does make sense when you kind of keep in mind that Russell Wilson, when he signs with those guys and he's going to take that small deal, it gives those guys a lot of flexibility. And you kind of look around too. They got Patrick Queen out of the Ravens, 3-year, $41 million deal. They got Dante Jackson at corner. They're fixing their defense. It's going to be interesting with their offense, though. I don't know how long. It's been said they're going to give it to Russell Wilson at the beginning. He's been claimed the starter, which is smart. You don't want to have that conversation throughout the entire offseason. Just figure it out now. But it's going to be Russell Wilson. And the only way the Bears, if you want to know what the Bears got a 6th-round pick in return. Now, it can be up to a 4th-round pick, but the stipulation is that Justin Fields would have to play 51 over 50%. So 51% of snaps this season for the Steelers. Then that 6th-round pick would actually be a 4th-round pick for the Chicago Bears. But I don't really see that happening. It's going to be Russell Wilson's job. I think it's smart for them to just get that out of the way now. You let Justin Fields learn under the wings. And again, if it's not going the way you want, I don't think they're going to be too slow to pull the plug. I think they're going to be comfortable enough that they can get, halfway through the season just simply to keep that pick, keep it from going to a 6 to a 4. I think you're going to see Russell Wilson probably play out the entire year, unless he stinks it up really bad. I do think it's just going to be a learning year for Justin Fields and just try to figure out, under Mike Tomlin, how to get some more of that consistency down. Because that's one thing about Justin Fields. The big question for him is how accurate is he? His accuracy has only jumped up about 3% total since he got to the NFL to where he is now completion-wise. So he hasn't regressed, but you're not necessarily seeing big improvements. You're seeing it in his running game and how he's able to understand where those green spaces are. You're kind of seeing it with the turnovers. He still has those accuracy problems, but he's not so loose with it when he's throwing the ball. He's a lot more calculated, and I think he's aware of those mistakes in the past. So to be a lot more calculated with it, he still kind of has those accuracy issues, but he's just more aware and not to kind of put him in those bad spots and realizing what throws he can make in college that are just not going to fly in the NFL. So I think it's good. There is some question about, how Mike Tomlin's developed quarterbacks in the past. That might be a worry for you if you're a Justin Fields fan. How is that development going to go for him? But I don't hate the move. I think at least Justin Fields, he goes to a spot where he is going to have a chance to play and polls. That was a big deal for him. He wanted to make sure that I'm not going to just send Justin Fields to a terrible franchise where the situation he's in is just not going to help him out. I thought they handled it pretty well. He didn't get a lot in return. And I know people are going to say the Bears got fleeced. I think they definitely could have got a better deal, but there wasn't a lot of leverage out there for him left. And I think you have to remember that when you're talking about Justin Fields. Now, you could argue maybe they should have been faster about dishing out Justin Fields, try to pick up the phone quicker and get teams like the Falcons interested before they kind of go in on this Kirk Cousins. Because the fact, I'll still say it, Kirk Cousins getting $180 million a year, it's crazy to me that you couldn't figure out a way to get Justin Fields over there. Like you weren't going to have to give up nearly as much money for Justin Fields. And again, not that Kirk Cousins is a bad quarterback, but he just had the worst injury of his career. And we're just going to assume he's going to be all right, even though, the guy's getting older, still good quarterback, but injuries are a huge concern for him. And you just guaranteed him a ton of money, 180 million total, I guaranteed over 100 mil. So you got to be careful of that with Kirk Cousins. And I just thought Justin Fields would have been a much better answer for the Atlanta Falcons, but they're going to roll the dice on it and really just trust in the rehab of Kirk Cousins. Now, I do like the help around them in Atlanta that they've been grabbing. They have been doing a lot to go ahead and get some extra support. Again, it's just going to be, is he healthy enough to kind of take that team off right away and try to bring him into some, new heights. I mean, it's been down there forever where the Falcons, you just really haven't felt comfortable with your quarterback. They've tried it. Yeah, and they had Ritter, they had Marcus Mariota, and it's just never quite working out. So maybe they get a stable quarterback in there, and that's their argument. They're done going from what if quarterback to what if quarterback to what if quarterback, because they really have been. If you think about the Falcons QBs, they've been the hand-me-down QBs that they were here at one spot. They were a high draft pick. They didn't work out, and now they're overplaying on the Atlanta Falcons. So maybe in some sense, they were just tired of that. They're like, we've done this with Marcus Mariota, and it just doesn't ever work out for us. We're not going to take the flyer on Justin Fields. We're just going to go get a guy that's been proven. Yes, it's a lot of money, despite he just got injured. One of the worst injuries of his career. We're done playing the games with, we'll take the hand-me-down quarterbacks and try to fix them over in Atlanta. They got a trusted guy, so you do kind of have to respect that. And there is a little bit of reasoning to that. And then when you go to the Chicago Bears, obviously my team that I want to spend quite a bit of time on, the Chicago Bears have been busy. Is it enough to really move them up in the NFC North is the question? Because the Vikings, I'm not super high on them, but I do think it's a well-coached team. And they still got plenty of good players on there that I don't think it's just going to be a walk in the park. We just saw it with the Green Bay Packers. As much as it kills me, that's a really young team. At first, I wasn't a fan of them getting Josh Jacobs and letting go of Jones, but it kind of makes sense, right? You can get younger with the guy in Jacobs. If you think his bad numbers were because of the Raiders, okay, well then that's your explanation. You think it's more can to do with how the Raiders are running their offense as opposed to Josh Jacobs' actual play. Because his first season, the guy popped off. His second season, you weren't so sure, but you're going to get younger, about 3-4 years younger with Josh Jacobs, on what is already one of the youngest teams in the NFL, led by one of the younger quarterbacks in the NFL, and Jordan Love. You don't mind that move. It saves you a little bit of money too with Jones, but Josh Jacobs, I think, I was against it, but the more I kind of wrap my head around it, I'm okay with it because he's a good receiving back too. That's something he has a lot more in his game than Jones does. Not that Jones can't do it, but I do like Josh Jacobs out there for a receiving back. I think that's going to be extremely beneficial for any young quarterback out there, just to kind of have that consistent release valve that you can expect. I can throw it to you, at the line of scrimmage, and I know you can at least squeeze 3, 4, 5 yards out of it just if we need to move the chain. So I think that's going to be a good help for him. And then you look at the Detroit Lions. I mean, those guys just had one of the best seasons in history that I can remember. I mean, I'm only 24 years old. I can't remember the Lions ever going that far because they haven't. They just simply haven't been a good franchise in decades. So they're coming off some really high expectations. And that is one thing with Dan Campbell. I think he's a good coach. That's one team that I will never expect to come into the season unmotivated. They clearly got a guy in Dan Campbell that knows how to motivate and get the players passionate and ready to play. I mean, that was a nightmare of a franchise. I mean, people, he got made up for having the classic biting off kneecaps quote. Some rough seasons, things weren't going smooth, and he still found a way to get that team to fight and really turn around and what ended up being a fantastic 2023 season. So you look at the Chicago Bears, really, maybe they're going to be better than the Vikings next year. They have so much talent on this roster. It's just, can they finally put it together? You got wide receiver Keenan Allen, which, by the way, fantastic. You acquired in exchange for a 2024 fourth round pick. Not bad. About 110th overall pick was what that was. I'll take that any day. I think that was a pretty good trade. You got DeAndre Swift, signed a 3-year, $24 million deal. I will say this is a year 2 for the running backs. I know we're always been pretty negative about the running backs and how much they can get paid. They probably still deserve to get paid a little bit more. But, I mean, you look at Barkley, you look at Derrick Henry, you look at DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard to the Titans. I mean, running backs this year, they're at least getting a lot more respect than years past. So shout out to the running backs. Yeah, you probably still could use a little more, but at least you guys are finally getting paid somewhat of your worth, because this is DeAndre Swift 3-year, $24 million deal. That's pretty good. I'll take that any day. DeAndre Swift, he's just kind of been a menace for the Bears, especially when he's playing on the Detroit Lions. So that's a guy I don't mind to see in a Chicago Bears jersey. And again, you got Coleman Shelton, Ryan Bates off the offensive line. Not bad there. I'm okay with that. Just add some more depth there. And then Gerald Everett, you get him, a tight end that isn't talked about a lot, but he's just consistent. Probably not your best receiving tight end, but he's big, strong, really good blocker, kind of more of that physical. So that's going to help out guys like Cole Kmet, where Cole Kmet can really just focus on being an offensive weapon, I shouldn't say offensive weapon, a good receiving tight end. And Gerald Everett, yeah, still a good receiving tight end, but what he really does well is block. So you get some more blocking there. And now you're starting to like this run game. Now with Caleb Williams, that seems to be pretty clear. That's the guy they're going to be going for, knowing that they traded Justin Fields away. Caleb Williams heading into that, I mean, that is a really good offense. And that is a defense where, I mean, you just got Montez Sweat. You made sure to pay him big money to keep him around because he was an absolute terror on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears. Now you got a room and a young quarterback. There's enough talent here. It's going to be one of these times for Chicago in particular. Is the management and the coaching going to be up to par enough to make sure this team can get off and running? They've got plenty of good players. Caleb Williams, there's going to be some obviously worry if he's a bust. I'm not going to sit here and worry about it too much. I mean, that's so far out now that it's hard to even think, but nothing really says he's going to be a bust outside of maybe a few instances where he runs around in the pocket too much, holds on to the ball a little too long. Those are the only red flag things I see in Caleb Williams, are kind of the same things I see in Justin Fields. Is you hold on to the ball too long. Yeah, you take a lot of sacks. You can point to your offensive line, but that's also conducive if you want to constantly scramble and extend plays. Your offensive line aren't going to always know where you're at if you're just notorious for breaking out of the pocket. Instead of stepping out and refitting into that pocket, he'll quickly hit the back door and just try to extend it on the outside with his legs. You know, he's got to constantly resit in the pocket and center himself back in there. Justin Fields kind of does a lot of the same thing, but if you're going to be talking about accuracy, that's where you'd give the edge to Caleb Williams. That's where with Justin Fields, I just wasn't sure. And it was always been the accuracy for me. Can he get that thing up enough? It's not something that gets fixed. You look at a guy like Josh Allen, what he did at Wyoming to come into the NFL and have that drastic of an improvement in his completion rating, that's not common. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks actually being able to fix their accuracy issues. Josh Allen is truly kind of one of those outliers. So with Justin Fields, again, I mentioned it at the very beginning. Yes, he's up completion percentage wise, but it's more so him just making smarter decisions as to him actually being a better thrower. He can throw it, I mean, on a rope, but it's not always accurate. It's like about 1 out of every 10 throws, you feel like he's going to throw it into the hands of a defender. I mean, 3% bump completion percentage wise, it's not great. It shows there's improvement, shows there's no regression, but it also doesn't give you anything solid to really sink your teeth into to say this guy in Justin Fields is definitely on that ascension of getting better. And it was the offense around him. Now that we got him some good wide receivers, a good tight end, and a defense he can rely on to get him back on the field, it doesn't seem to have really mattered. He's gotten better players. The offense scores more, but his numbers in itself aren't eye-catching. The most eye-catching numbers he had was with his legs. But then the Bears offensively this year clearly wanted him to use his arm more than he wanted to use his legs. So it's also a little interesting with the Bears. I've never been entirely sure what they were trying to build Justin Fields into. Do you want to be like the Baltimore Ravens and have an awesome running quarterback and a good play action game? Or do you kind of want to just Patrick Mahomes style where we don't really have a whole lot of design runs, but if you see that opening, we got a guy that can go and get it. It felt like 2 years ago they were being the Baltimore Ravens, and then last season it was more Kansas City Chiefs style where it's like Justin Fields, if you see it, take it, but we're not going to be calling a lot of plays for you to go and run the ball. Now they would a few times, but it aged out pretty quickly. And again, we can talk about the coaches ad nauseum, but I've never been really happy around the development of Justin Fields. I'm okay with where it's at now. Eberflus, I'm still a little shaky on. I mean, he's going to be calling plays on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy to get this thing turned around, but they're going to keep him for this season. They're going to give him a shot. It's just, if you mess up Caleb Williams too, I don't know how many more shots the Bears can get at an overall elite quarterback. If they can't figure out a franchise quarterback this year after getting rid of Justin Fields, if they get it wrong with Caleb Williams, after you had a shot to get Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you have to go back. The best quarterbacks for me at 24 years old, I'm talking about Jay Cutler and Mitch Trubisky. Like, that's awful. Like, I'm sorry. I let those guys both probably nice people, but those are not necessarily great quarterbacks. Now, Jay Cutler, I'll give him, he was very solid for a while there. You had some questions about his leadership and if he really wanted to be there or not. But he could definitely throw that ball. And there were some years where when Jay Cutler was playing his best football, those Green Bay Packer rivalry games, they were close because the Bears were good. And Jay Cutler, he was not an all-time quarterback by any means, but he's definitely more than competent. I mean, good arm, incredibly accurate. It's really just the off-the-field stuff that kind of got him into trouble. But again, then you're talking about Mitch Trubisky, and then we got to start going really back in time just to try to find some names. Then you're going to the Jim McMahons. You're getting to the McMahons. So again, when it comes to Bears quarterbacks, you've gotten it wrong. How many years? You can't afford to mess another one up. You mess this one up, who knows? Is it another 20, 30 years of just bad Bears football? That's the risk. Because again, you have all this money spent on good skill position players, good defensive players. Now there's not a lot of money left. You're going to have to pay these guys. So if you get a quarterback and it's doesn't work out and you're trying to build it up and it's a slow process, all this money you just paid, these contracts are going to hit and it's going to get really expensive and you're going to have to make a decision if you got your quarterback or not. So this is why your number one pick, again, you have to get this one right. You can't take this Bears franchise that is still one of the biggest money-making franchises out there, especially just across all sports, let alone the NFL. And they haven't even been good. So you got to take this thing off to a new level. I think it's possible, but you just got to get this quarterback situation right. Another missed quarterback opportunity for the Bears will absolutely haunt the ownership at the moment and certainly the fans. Because again, how many times do I got to hear it about the Bears could have had Patrick Mahomes? I hear it just about every single day if you're at this station. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. We'll talk a little bit more NFL on the other side here. Maybe text line if you guys get involved, 402-464-5685. You can put a face to the voice as well. So again, Harrison Arens on the ones and twos going solo, and then we'll be back with the Breeze at noon. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win two, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
After the snow-packed winter we've had so far, people need some green, which is good because Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is double. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So slide into your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and play to win some green today. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
It's phishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round. And their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Did I forget something?
No, just wanted to tell you I love you. Oh, don't forget to buckle up. Drive safe.
I will. Love you too.
Someone is counting on you to buckle up. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hi, it's Tom and Mike from Husker One. And did you know that people who are represented by an attorney are often compensated up to 3 times more than someone who is not?
Friedman Law has been helping injured people for over 60 years. It's all they do. If you're ever seriously injured in an accident, call Friedman Law at 402-476-1093.
Friedman Law is a family firm that works hard for Nebraska families just like yours.
So if you're ever injured on the job or in a crash, contact Friedman Law at friedmanlaw.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
All right, Harrison Arens back here. Not Jay Foreman. Harrison Arens on the 1s and 2s, going solo all the way up until noon, and then we'll be back on with our regular programming. We got the Breeze Haas DP, as always, from noon to 1 on Sundays here at 93.7 Ticket. 402-464-5685. Last second comments before you guys want to, or before we wrap up the show, I should say. We got one here, I believe, unknown texter, or excuse me, this one's from Augie. Augie chimes in and says, seems like Chicago didn't get much out of the deal. I'm not sure that Caleb is that much of an upgrade. And I don't think it was a great deal for the Bears either. I will say this, though. I think what the real problem was, and what I said at the beginning of the show, is the market was drying out way faster than me as a Bears fan anticipated. To see quarterbacks kind of landing as fast as they did. And again, I keep saying the Falcons, but I just think they're a good example. I just was not expecting the Falcons to be willing to pay that much of money. I thought for sure the Falcons would be a team that would be all open to having Justin Fields there. Okay, it doesn't work out. I get it. And then I'm looking at the Raiders. The Raiders go pick up a guy. They get Gardner Minshew. So then I'm just kind of weighing out the options there. And it starts looking bleak pretty fast. And then the fact that Minnesota Vikings, they weren't super high on my list because I'm like, maybe the Bears probably don't want to trade to an NFC North rival in the Minnesota Vikings, especially if they have any sort of hope that Justin Fields still might be good. You certainly wouldn't want to see him in your own division. And they take Sam Darnold. So I've just kind of been blown away by how fast the options have dried up. And yeah, you can argue the Bears got fleeced, but there is a reality that he's on the roster and they don't get anything. That his contract comes up, no one's really interested, and you just have to let him go. Because that's the other possibility, is that if you drag this thing on too long and you get to the end of the year and you still have him on the roster, you're just going to let him go because you're not going to pay him that money. No one's going to trade you to pay him that money. So again, it's one of those things where the Bears, you could argue they maybe could have been a little faster on it in order to not get to this point where it does feel like the Bears got fleeced a little bit. I mean, you're talking about a guy in Justin Fields who was, first round quarterback, really highly touted, people were excited about, and you're getting a 6th round, at best a 4th round, and knowing the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to make sure that Justin Fields stays below that 50% snaps played. Unless, like I said, it's incredibly bad with Russell Wilson and they just got to fall apart. But other than that, yeah, it's not a good trade for the Bears, but it's to me, it sums up to better than nothing. I just think it moved on. The market moved really fast. Teams were finding their quarterbacks, and then it was just kind of over. So again, that's where I'm at with Chicago Bears. I hope that Caleb Williams, kind of works out for him. He's kind of got some of the same problems that I've been saying about before, where he scrambles, he holds onto the ball a little bit too long. He does the exact same things that you might get upset about watching Justin Fields for. But the one thing that he does a little bit better is just accuracy. He's a little more accurate than Justin Fields. Now, how good is he? My problem is when I look at Caleb Williams, I don't see him as above and away better than a guy in Jaden Daniels. Drake May, I'm not super high on, but there seems to be a lot of certainty that Caleb Williams is just going to be this generational quarterback. And I have a lot of fear with that just because we get it wrong all the time, especially when you look at a guy in Trevor Lawrence, who he's still got some chance. There's potential for him to get these things turned around. And shout out to the Jaguar, getting Calvin Ridley. He gets his money, big money on that one. Definitely going to help them out. But you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that are supposed to be the next big thing, and it rarely works out to the way we anticipated. So again, with Caleb Williams, I'm optimistic. I like a lot of the things he does, but I'm not going to just go ahead and be 100% certain that this guy is going to save the franchise. Ownership's better. You got more skill players. You're really helping out the defense from completely gutting the defense. I've liked the moves they've had to kind of build that back up slowly and make sure you keep a guy like Montez Sweat, just because you got to get some real faces in there, especially in that backfield. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough, especially with the coaching staff. That's probably my biggest fear with Caleb Williams is, can they get him set up for success? Because until I see a quarterback come out of Chicago that has consistently played well throughout his entire year, I just don't feel good about a lot of these quarterbacks coming into Chicago. I guess they got to prove to me that they can build up and develop a guy before I can just sign on believing that Caleb Williams is going to be the next best thing. I'm sure he'll show some flashes, some promises, but for it to click right away is going to be the real question. And the Bears, again, I keep saying it over and over and over again, but these guys really can't afford to have another messed up quarterback situation, because you're paying all this money on the offense and defense. Now it's time to get the quarterback position right. Finally, figure out, is Eberflus going to be the guy or not? Because you just don't want to keep dragging this thing out. And I thought Eberflus probably could have lost his job two times already, but he's still there. So clearly there's communication where they trust him. And you do. Look, if it's the defense, I can accept that argument. If you like Eberflus because you saw a dramatic improvement in the defense, that's fair. But I got to see it on the offensive side too. So I'm not saying Eberflus needs to be gone, but I'm still shaky on him. There's a few pieces left on this roster as a Bears fan supporter that I feel shaky on. Eberflus, one of them. Caleb Williams, not because I thought Caleb Williams was bad at USC, but just because his problems are the exact same problems Justin Fields kind of had, outside of he's a little more accurate in development. Can we actually develop a quarterback and build him up into that true form? Because again, we talk about Patrick Mahomes. If he was on the Chicago Bears, is Patrick Mahomes? No. I think Patrick Mahomes is because he played under Andy Reid. He played behind Alex Smith, and he got some really good coaching and leadership to kind of follow behind as he slowly picked up the NFL game. And then when he got there, the lights weren't on and it wasn't too bright. He got in there and he just always kind of looked controlled and poised, because again, I just think it was great leadership down there. And again, Andy Reid, he's clearly a great coach, but Alex Smith, not necessarily the greatest quarterback, but a smart quarterback that he could just sit behind and learn. And definitely a guy that I feel like gets forgotten a little bit just because we've jumped straight into the Patrick Mahomes era. But he was a big part, I think, in helping Patrick Mahomes out and becoming the player he is. So again, for the Chicago Bears, if they would have got Patrick Mahomes, would he have been Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. And that's kind of my fear with Caleb Williams. It's not the players itself. It's we haven't ever proven we can actually develop a quarterback into becoming, a Hall of Famer, or at the bare minimum, a guy that we can lead out there consistently. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. That's kind of my quick rant on the Chicago Bears as they got rid of Justin Fields yesterday. So we're going to throw it over to the Breeze. That show is up next. It's Haas and DP as always. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a little bit.